Guys, I found a Terran versus Zerg that is not Beyond versus Solar. I know, they exist. Well, I mean, there's a few of them that I could have casted already, I suppose, but pretty much none of them were... Actually, none of them, other than Beyond versus Solar, were between players at the absolute highest level. Now, spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, okay, we have the man with the polar bear on the main command center. You'll know him as Clem. An absolute beast in Terran versus Zerg, although so far on the new patch, he hasn't really played that many of them because there just haven't been a lot of Zergs making it deep enough into tournaments. His opponent, though, yeah, this is Solar. It's Solar. Look, we're one step in the right direction. I have been casting a little bit of Zerg versus Terran on the new patch so far, and it's pretty much all been Beyond versus Solar. Now we have Clem versus Solar. At least it's a little different. A best of 3 series between 2 of the very best in the world. So apparently Clem is going to start this off with a good old double barracks right over here on the low ground of Tato Citadel. One of the brand new maps that, well, may very well become a ladder map at some point in the future. It's the map with the Sims logos. Remember your Sims characters having these things above their heads? No, just me? All right, anyways. This is a nice start in case you want to take control of the early game. So, Clem is a very momentum-heavy player, where he usually likes to snowball games, right? So he likes to deal a little bit of damage and then pile on top of it and pile on top of it and pile on top of it. This is one of the strategies, I feel like, one of the build order starts as a Terran, where you can really immediately get that momentum advantage. So if Clem manages to deal enough damage with the Reapers, he can layer it up with some additional aggression afterwards as well. The problem, though, is that Solar is phenomenally strong right now when it comes to defensive Zerg. Pretty much all the Zerg players seem to be struggling in that aspect quite a lot. So there's some build orders that are once more viable, like the quick lair with the quick baneling speed and maybe double upgrades before the lair, right? Those strategies are once more popping up quite a lot, but we see a ton of Zerg players, especially ones below the absolute tippity top, dying before they can really play like a stable mid to late game. But Solar consistently makes it deep into a match. And usually, if he manages to get there, he can go up to either Ultras, he can go into Hydra Lurker, he can go into Nidus Worms. But usually Solar defends until the late game. And it all depends on whether or not he can get there. But Solar seems to be able to defend against most everything, most of the time. Now, the reason he's defending nicely against these 2 Reapers is because he has skipped the 3rd base. So we don't yet have a 3rd. Nice dodge right here on the grenade. Using the high ground vision here for one of those Reapers. Nicely done right here by Clem. Reducing the HP on all of those bad boys. In the meantime, already a 3rd command center did start up on the other side of the map. So this is going to be a faster 3rd base for Terran than it is right here for the Zerg. Reapers will continue harassing, but the main downside right now, though, for the Terran player is that you're not going to be able to go into any Hellion play, really. You can't really go into Banshee play very reliably either. It's still technically possible, but usually after the Reapers have been defended, aka when link speed is done, which is right now, usually that's the point at which Terran needs to chill until Stimpack is done. Okay. So, Stimpack is still about maybe a minute and a half or so away. So Solar should have a good moment here to drone up and, well, maybe dance with the Reapers a little bit. Interestingly enough, though, Solar did really delay the 3rd quite a lot. Snipe on the Creep Tumor. Great micro here on these Reapers. It needs to be said. Lynx are going to try and finally chase them home. Instead, we have a little Zergling, pop by on the Watchtower, but the Reapers are no longer anywhere visible on the minimap right now. They're taking the long route home. But Clem, being a bit of a beast so far, is not making it easy. Now, Solar is going a load of roaches. Interestingly enough, this is a lot of roaches. My concern here is that he's going to get across the map right at the time that Stimpack finishes, which is never a good moment. Maybe he'll use the roaches defensively because he's anticipating this move out. But I don't believe... I mean, normally 5 minutes or so is when Terran finishes up Stimpack with an opener like this. I don't believe, he was ever going to be able to get across the map before Stim would be done. So, Unless Clem decides to load all of the Marines at the Medivacs blindly and just sort of gamble his army to the other side of the map, I've got a feeling that he should have a pretty good shot at defending this, although it's an awful lot of Zerg. Solar is actually just pretty much all in. Yeah, it's triple Ravager and then just a Ling Flood to try and bring it home. I haven't seen this build in a long time, but look. Oh, Terran's moving out. Clem's been cruising so far in the early game. Look at the split on the Zerg army too. There's 2 clumps of Zerg, and he knew the path in which that Terran army would fly across the map. Now Terran's gonna have to awkwardly return back home, but Combat Shields is gonna get denied. The perfect timing attack right here by Solar. He's gonna be able to overwhelm a lot of units here too. Marines are going to go down. I think the siege tank is just gonna get biled. We have like 5 Ravagers here. Takes 3 balls, of course, to shut one of those things down. Marines have come back home right now. They need to use Stimpack. But that's so many SCV losses already. Well, you know what? I introduced Solar as a macro player, and I think more often than not he is. But this is some of the most successful early game aggression from a Zerg player that I have seen in months. Clem has now been reduced to 10 workers. That's less than he started the game off with. Yeah, I think he's gonna go down even further. Wow. Disaster. An absolute disaster right here for Clem. And it's all because he decided to move out with those Marines. It's uncommon for Zerg to go for an attack like this, so maybe he just decided to risk it. Because how frequently do you really play against that sort of thing? Now, Solar, by the way, has been making drones again for a while already. Lara's just about to finish up. We should see a roach speed, I would imagine. Like maybe +1 roach speed. Yeah, exactly right. Don't think you really need to transition out of this. You just keep on running across the map with maybe like a roach speed timing attack or something along those lines. Now, mules are good, but they're not that good, right? My main concern, I guess, is that Solar can over-drone. So he's just got about 11 roaches for the defense. I think it'll be enough. Still, though, yeah, this is a Terran army that needs to be respected. Little Zergling run by. In the meantime, no lift on the orbital command. Oh, no. I believe this is what the kids call copium when it comes to the Terran attack right over here. There is a very small shot that Solar is gonna mess up an advantage this big. I mean, Clem is still dealing a good bit of damage. The problem mostly is when those 2 upgrades finish up. So Glide over Constitution, that's roach speed, pretty much done. And then +1 armor is going to be finished in about a half minute or so. And if this Zerg army in its entirety can go across the map, and that's obviously what these Medivacs are trying to deny, but if these units can go across the map, it's going to be pretty much impossible for Clem to hold on against, well, that type of Zerg production. There are 3 siege tanks. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But obviously Solar saw that he killed one of his opponent's command centers. So he knows that this is now going to be an extended 2-base all-in. And because of it, he decides to chill. Strategically, yep, Solar's making all the right choices. Little scout over here as well to reveal that indeed there is no new command center set up. So that means you can also take this defensive fight on creep. Now, he's still respecting Clem enough to apparently not, just meet him in the middle of the map. But he's more than doubling the supply. I think you go. Some good corrosive biles. Zerglings around the back. And this is GG. Next up, we find ourselves on the Mothership. A Terran versus Zerg on a Protoss map? Is this even allowed? Is this even legal? But you know what? That push there from Solar was quite beautiful indeed, although a bit of a coin flip. It's nice to see it being brought back. We don't really see a ton of early game aggression. It's been one of my criticisms of this matchup, but Solar has actually been In Zerg versus Protoss at the very least, right? I did cast a series recently where in ZVP, he was doing a lot of aggressive builds. So while in ZVT against Terran, he's been mostly a punching bag, it's nice to see him bringing it back. The good old Roach Rush, straight across the map. Now, I wonder what that push would have looked like, though, if Terran decided to, not move out. Because you do get across the map there as the Zerg, right when Stimpack finishes and 2 Medivacs are out, which is like a big power spike for the Terran army. But, yeah, not an issue in that particular game, because Terran did blindly send the units out. Normally, right, when you have a Hellion and Banshee opener, for example, you're a lot safer against that type of push, because there's very little anti-air other than corrosive biles and all the rest of it, and usually Hellions are also out on the map to keep tabs on the Zerg, so you can't really miss a move out. One of the downsides of opening up with that style. Alright, command center on the low ground right now after a single barracks. SCV scout heading in the wrong direction, because of course this is a 3-player map. SCV scout though is gonna pop out right at the correct time, because now the Reaper is gonna be able to send, well, it should be sent, yep, towards that bottom section of the map instead. I quite like that move, actually. So the SCV really just there to see if the expansion was taken. Not the case, so therefore the opponent must be down south. I like this map a lot, actually. It's fun. I'm not sure if it's good, but it is fun, which maybe should be one of the main priorities to look for. Is this, by the way, a pylon indicator right over here? It looks like a pylon indicator. Huh? Yeah, I think it must be. We don't usually see pylon indicators in the main base, but I think this is for Terran versus Protoss. If you're a Protoss player, you can probably put your pylon over here and then 2 structures right next to it for the perfect wall. I would have assumed the first pylon would have to go down on a different spot. Anyways, not particularly relevant for a matchup where there is no Protoss. Nobody here can make pylons. We should go for the good old Hellion follow-up right about right now. Clem now needs to get a little bit of money going first. Clem, are we not prioritizing the Hellions? There we go. We'll probably see a tech lab here as well in the barracks in just a moment. Yeah, he really is not prioritizing Hellion production much. It's kind of scary, to be honest. He's busy microing on the other side of the map. Now he finally starts up another one. Tech lab indeed begins on the barracks, so we can do the big switcheroo. Okay. Third CC, already finishing up. So this is the most conventional start for Terran. Good old Hellion and Banshee with Cloak. This has been Clem's bread and butter for like 5 years. He does mix it up all the time. But when he finds himself behind in a series, which admittedly doesn't really happen all too often, but we go back to the good old comfort zone. I would imagine that this is likely the location for the 4th base of the Zerg, although it kind of feels far away. Usually Zergs like to expand away from the opponent. Not sure. Maybe going for this one is easier, but the rock's kind of... I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what Solar decides to do here in a macro match. He is looking around the map, though, trying to see if maybe the 3rd base is already going to be taken in a moment. I would imagine at least the Ling is going to continue running around. Okay. Little bit of a dance over here, too, with the Hellions, but... where do we take this game from here, Solar? So Solar actually has skipped out on both the Roach Warren as well as the Baneling Nest, which is throwing me off a bit. Okay, I think he's just late. Yeah, the Baneling Nest actually really should. It should have been done already. Like, the entire premise of this build order here from Solar is that you finish up Baneling speed early enough to be able to really deal with any sort of timing attack from the Terran. Oh, we are going Spire. I don't know if this is because he, like, kind of messed it up a bit or if he just planned on going from this for the start. Well, I guess since he's getting the gases going too, he is going to be quite committed. So this is going to be mutiling Bane right now from Solar. Quite an unorthodox strategy in 2025, but it did, of course, get buffed with the Spire cost reduction, the build, well, time reduction as well. Still, though, no Banelings here. Not a lot of Queens. That means, of course, the Terran can continue harassing, and so far the damage has been really solid. Yeah, it's bloody. Very, very bloody right here. On the side of the Zerg. Okay. Baneling speed. It's going to be done eventually. And Mutas will be out in just a moment. But this has been some really solid harassment right here from Clem. The Banshees are apparently going to pay the price eventually. But this little bit of space, this corner here, is proving to be very difficult for the Zerg. Maybe getting an extra Spore out here in the front or something would have been nice. Anyways, Clem is going for a move out right now. Mutas are just about to pop out, and considering that we are going +1 flyer attacks, Solar is planning on doubling down Mutas. He really wants to go mass Muta here. This is one attack upgrade for the Mutas before the 1-1 starts up in the Evo chambers. He must know right now that this army is here, but like I said, Baneling speed is late. This is insanely cursed. What in the world? Actually, it's not that bad. Now that I look at it a little bit more. Okay, the 4th base is dying. So we have a weird little transparent bit of terrain here. And you can spread creep over it, because it's a little bridge, I suppose, but it looks weird. Okay. Now the Mutas, though, have made their way across. Maybe they should have been used for the base defense, but I guess he knew that that expansion was going to go down. Clem already did have a missile turret set up, though. Only a single worker on the side of the Terran has died at this point in time. I think Clem is feeling very comfy. He can go for a big attack. I think that's a good idea here. He can go for a big attack when the +2/+2 finishes up. Combat shields is a bit late, but he is at least not forgetting it entirely. I think you go for an all-out assault with +2/+2 finishing up, knowing that you've got the eco advantage. Now, will he go for a 4th command center? Because he did go 2nd factory. I think he will. I think that's what this SCV is going to be tasked to do. He just made a Thor, so I guess that's why. Yeah, 4th command center starts up, but he prioritized the Thor there for just a moment. Thors, of course, deal bonus damage here, or at least splash damage to Mutalisks. So, always nice to put him in the mix. We go Drilling Claws too. Drilling Claws good against Lynx, against Banes, and then also against Mutas. Still, though, it's one of those unit compositions from the Zerg that can very quickly slip out of your control here as the Terran. When the Muta numbers get big enough, yeah, you can just start fighting these units pretty easily. Widowmine, though? Ugh. Thor also trying to put in some work. In the meantime, the expansion down south, the secondary 4th base right there of Solar ends up going down as well. We have a new hatchery, at least on the right side, but Solar has been having a difficult time just getting his eco going. And now 2-2 is nearly done. Now the Terran is nearly maxed. If he can force a main engagement, Clem that is, with the Zerg's main army, I think he should be absolutely golden. Widow Mines, siege tanks, all the rest of it. Ooh, nice snatch right there on those Marines. I thought they were going to die for sure. Great splitties here. Unit numbers are big, though. Solar does not want to chase off creep. That's exactly why we do see a scan right now moving forward, trying to reduce a little bit of it. The Thor has also shown up now. 4th command center is going to be flying on forward. Okay, curious spot for that one. I guess it makes sense. Planetary fortress in that location is kind of awesome. I think Clem needs to keep pushing, though, because that's the only way to get these Mutas off his back. The best defense is the offense. Mass repair on the missile turret. Widowmine does get a connection, but not that many kills. And now the SCVs are dropping. Marines, in the meantime, push forward as well. Dangerous, though, to be stimming onto creep right now. He needs to run against the speedy Banes. Oh. Detonations are not bad, but he did lose 10 SCVs in the process. That's the real strength of the Muta, the fact that you can harass and still be home in time for, well, defense as well. The real weakness, though, of the Muta is the fact that they are paper planes. Okay. Thought for a second he was going to fly all of them over the Marines there. That would have been a problem. +3/+3 is coming up. +2 air. +2/+2 as well here for Solar. Solar is going Hive, by the way, which normally... Ooh, normally that's a difficult thing for Zergs to afford, because it means that you have less Ling Bane, but it also means that you can eventually go into Ultras. And maybe into 3/3, Adrenal Glands, all the rest of it. But it does mean that you need to survive this right here, right now. And the micro here from Clem has been really good. GG gets cold. There's no way that Solar is going to be able to defend against this continued aggression. And that takes us to Winter Madness. Final game in this best of 3 series. So far, it's been a lovely back and forth. I've seen, by the way, quite a few people saying that they really do like the snowfall right here on Winter Madness. You know what? When I first saw this map, I think it must have been the end of summer. It seemed a little bit early, but now that we feel like we're... I don't know, I feel like I see a lot of winter stuff already in stores and whatnot, right? Like, it's pretty much already Christmas if you go to, like, anywhere. If you go outside to any store, they want you to believe that it's already pretty much Christmas. I feel like the snow is not as inappropriate now as it was back in, like, August. It's pretty now. It's nice. Do we need seasonal map designs in StarCraft 2? Is that a thing? Unless you live in the Southern Hemisphere. I think like 10% of my viewers are from Australia. Anyway, you guys can go decorate a palm tree or something. I don't know what they do. I have no idea what they do in Australia. Honestly, I'm not even sure Australia is real. Maybe, and I've been told this by Twitch viewers, aka the beacons of truth, that Australia is fake and made up by the government. Yeah. That's what I've been told, so I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, I have met a lot of Australians, and they're all very friendly, which is a bit suspicious. Like, any Australian I ever met at a StarCraft tournament, they're always exceptionally nice. Very sus. Looks like we are going to go and send out at least the second Overlord a little bit further out into the map. Not too crazy, though. Mostly the norm for Overlord positioning is to send the first one out for scouting purposes. So you really just want to confirm the absolute basics with this one. And sometimes you send it in for like a scout of the main base. Normal scout timing for that first OV is about 3:45 to like 4:15. So you send it in. Usually the second, the third, the fourth Overlord, they're going to be positioned close to like the Zerg side of the map to see Hellion rotations. So this first one over here, when the creep goes out a little bit further, you should be able to notice if like the Marines and the Hellions and the Reapers and all that are cycling around. Obviously, if it's not going to be a Hellion opener, you do want to pull those OVs back, because you don't want to lose them with a Marine timing a push. It's one of those little things that the pro gamers are pretty much doing on autopilot, but it's actually not that easy. If you just tunnel vision into positioning your Overlords in the same spot every time, you'll likely lose them about half the game as well. Or half the games, which is very suboptimal. Okay. 0 drones currently in gas. Bit weird. Most of the time we see 1 worker in gas. I wonder if that means that Solar has got something weird in mind. Normally you slowly at least trickle in a bit of Vespian income in case you need to get something out on a pinch, or you just want to go for an eventual lair. Usually if you just get 1 in gas, so usually you pull 2 out of gas when you go up to 100. Apparently we're just educating now. Anyways, welcome to Zerg School, everybody. Get your notes out, put your glasses on. This will be on the test. Normally you take 2 drones out of gas when you reach 100, go metabolic boost. But Solar apparently decided to pull all out and then added 3 back in at, I guess, about halfway metabolic boost. It's a little bit odd. Nothing all too extreme, because I guess he ends up with a very similar amount of gas income, just in a slightly more complex manner than is needed. It'd be really funny to do an actual StarCraft test. Hyperflight rotors. What does the upgrade Hyperflight rotors do? It's Banshee speed, guys. I'm not gonna do multiple choice, okay? Multiple choice is too easy. There, I said it. I loved multiple choice tests in school. Because even if you had no clue, you could usually eliminate at least one, maybe two of the 4 options. Easiest tests of my life. Oh, Queen is kind of out of position here, but I don't think there's enough firepower. Yeah. By the way, can I just test one thing real quick? Sorry, I've been wondering about this for a while, but not enough to actually... We'll test it live. How about that? If you're on, like, the lowest graphic settings... Ah, the snow is still there. Oh! No, it's not! See, this is problematic. Most pro gamers will play on the lowest graphics as it is, or at least like a hybrid version of it. But I do think you get a slight competitive edge for not playing on the highest graphic settings as it is. I think actually you are kind of encouraged now to play on lower graphic settings. Honestly, I would be kind of surprised though. Like, if this does turn out to be an official ladder map in the future, I would be kind of surprised if, like, the snow effect would make it all throughout the map. Maybe, like, the main bases, maybe the natural. It's maybe a little bit excessive in other regions. Anyway. Double upgrades coming up here for Solar in a moment. Likewise as well on the other side of the map. Clem now going into double engineering bay. Adding on barracks 3, 4, and 5 right now. And we're going to be pumping out the Marines here in just a moment. I wonder if we're going to be seeing any sort of Muta play yet again. Banshee's now helping out as well, though. Zerglings swoop in. Transfuses are good. 2 Hellions go down, I would imagine. Maybe 3, maybe 4. It does take 3 Hellions, of course, to one-shot drones. So you have to be careful here as the Zerg player. But so far, the drone barbecue that Clem invited everybody out for. Yeah, it's only 3 workers here. Not quite what he was hoping for. Some nice control there by Solar. Some good crisis management in the end. Who's now sneaking out a 4th hatchery over here on the left. No Muta play this time around. Instead, we're going to go for the much more conventional style. So this is what Solar has been winning the majority of his games with lately. This is looking like good old Hydra Lurker into Nidus network. So he does some Zergling run-bys. Maybe a few Banelings here and there when Baneling speed finishes. Although I don't think he even made a Baneling nest this time around. No, he has not. I think he's basically just treating himself as a punching bag until he gets to Hive. Until he gets out to Lurkers. 2nd factory, 4th command center coming up, so Clem is not going to be playing Adrex all-in. Very popular build order below just this level of StarCraft 2. It's actually kind of ironic. Like, most of the top-level Terran players, like the absolute cream of the crop, they don't seem to go for Adrex all-ins that much. But the players right below that seem to really adore Adrex all-ins. There's the Lurkers. And then we have the Hive. 7.5-minute Hive. Not bad. 5th base coming up. Armory here, finishing up right at the correct time, so we can go straight into 2-2. And this is a nice little macro game. Now, who do we favor in a macro game between these two? I am saying, and I don't know who wins this series, but I'm thinking about maybe a 65-35 advantage for Clem. I think I give Clem a 2/3 advantage, mostly because he already wins the majority of the macro games, it seems, against the likes of Serral. So therefore, would he lose against Solar? Probably not. Against Serral, it seems to be closer to 50-50 though, but I have been very impressed by Solar's late game, especially against Bjorn. So I have to keep an eye out on, but it's difficult, because at some point Clem just seems to put his foot on the gas and he never lets go. And the aggression gets pretty nuts. First little attack here coming in, though. Not enough Hydras. No Banelings, like I said. There is an Infestor right now, but the Fungal is completely missed. Bunch of Zerglings show up. Widowmine. Okay, good splitty right there by Solar. But without Banelings, without a Fungal... Oh! Well, that's a Fungal that you can, yeah, tell everybody you like about. That's beautiful. That'll be enough to push that Terran, well, force away for now. Gonna take a moment to heal everything back up to full. Lurkers are coming. It's slow going. We don't yet have a Nidus network. We don't yet have seismic spines. We don't yet have the adaptive talents. So we don't yet have all the fancy upgrades. But it's on the horizon. And I think honestly these Hydras are going to be enough for now. Hydras do outrange Widowmines if you have detection. No detection right here for the Zerg. Alright, so this is the Lurker ranged upgrade. And the other one is the burrow speed improvement. Ghost Academy now coming up right here for Clem, though. So he is securing the 4th. He's actually already fully secured it. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 5th here in a moment. He's already gone up to 8 barracks. And we should be seeing the Ghost production in a moment. Beyond seems to be very fond of going Liberators. He also goes Ghosts, but he seems to be favoring Liberators more and more as of late. Apparently, Clem disagrees with that statement. And he decides to go for, yeah, good old Marine Marauder, Medevac, Ghost. Maybe Libs on the end. Like, in the end, when he has enough money to make that transition a bit more reliable. But even though Solar has been a bit of a punching bag, as expected, the traits have been good enough. And he does have a really solid economy right now. He's getting Adrenal Glands, Baneling Nest now coming up. He's getting all the important upgrades. I would imagine a Lurker Den here as well in just a moment. Maybe he just wants to walk the Lurkers across, though. That's also a viable choice. Does he know of the 4th base positioning? Well, now he does. And this is going to be difficult for the Terran player to defend. Does he have enough to kill these Lurkers? Okay. Ghosts are out, though. Perfect timing on the Ghosts in the end. 2 snipes are good. Solar only making, like 4 Lurkers here in total is kind of messy. He wants to build them right over here. Morphs into low HP Lurkers, too. They will spawn with full HP, but is there enough for Zerg to actually clutch the kill on this planetary? This can make or break the game. This is absolutely critical here for Solar. He cannot afford losing this army. And he can also really not afford letting the Terran player get away with his base. I think he's got the kill, though, doesn't he? Fungal? Oh, not enough energy, maybe. No, not enough energy. A couple seconds away on both of the Infestors for another Fungal growth. Snipe yet again. Zerg army a little too far back. New Lurkers are popping out. Double upgrade startup yet again for Solar. Fungal. Decent Fungal. Not terribly... Yeah, not terribly happy about that one. New command centers, by the way, are building on the back of all of this. And I think, wow. Solar backs up. Solar lets go of the aggression now that he sees the Ghost numbers steadily rise. Great defense right there by Clem. Yeah, well, I say that. Apparently Solar just repositioned around the other angle. But I think this one is easier, though, to manage right here for Clem. Clem is so dangerous. I feel like any other Terran there would have lost the planetary. Perfect timing on the Ghost Academy in the end. Okay. Baneling Speed is going to be his next weapon of choice. Double upgrades as well, though, like I mentioned here for Solar. Benefiting mostly those Lings and Banelings for now. I don't know if he plans on going Ultras, but it would be a choice. A very brave choice, to say the least. Now, one thing that we do see, though, for Solar here is that he's taking a whole lot of expansions. So his new game plan, it seems, is to take half of the map's resources. Second starport coming up. 3-3 has also been fired up a while ago right here by Clem, so you should be able to finish that up reasonably soon. Ooh, Hydra Lunge moving forward, trying to catch a couple of those Terran units off guard. Now, this is that sketchy part for Zerg, right? Where he finally managed to get up to, like, his ultimate army. The fungal here is nice. But Terran's units are going to get much better over the next few minutes still. Basically, as SCVs are dying, as Marines are dying, they're being replaced with more Liberators and more Ghosts. The Terran also will be able to get the Liberator ranged upgrade. He can get the Caduceus reactor upgrade for the Medivacs. Whereas for Solar, this army is kind of like, other than some small upgrades, I guess, it kind of feels like it's already maxed. And he's not really able to achieve much headway here with the units that he's got at the moment. Whereas Clem's army is still going to get significantly better moving forward. Now, Clem doesn't yet... Ooh, he needs to be careful. Move command over here. Has Medivacs enough, though, to snatch up most of the troops and mitigate some of those losses. Ooh, okay. We do move in right now with a very big push. Those Widow Mines dealing a lot of friendly fire. Use the lunge to get away again. But we don't yet have a fusion core right now for Clem, which is a little bit surprising. I think we should be building one right now. Maybe he's feeling the pressure, though, of this non-stop Zerg aggression. Nidus Worm coming up. He really needs to get those upgrades going. He also hasn't yet gone for the building armor. Building armor and high-sec auto-tracking, I would imagine, are going to be coming up as well in a moment here inside of the NG base. But Liberators really do need range. I did cast a game recently. I think this was actually Solar going up against Bjorn. Where Bjorn was winning the game, but then he just forgot getting his fusion core upgrades. I believe he built a fusion core, but he just never got the upgrades in them. There it is. Okay. It's critical to not forget about this set of upgrades, because it's so big. Makes a massive difference, but sometimes it's difficult to keep your head in the game. There's a lot of balls to juggle, and Solar is being very oppressive here. Look at the mini-map right now. Starting to crush as many of those bases as he can. Now, hats off to Clem, though. He hasn't really taken any critical damage or anything along those lines yet. But it kind of feels like it's only a matter of time now. Terran units fungled. Orbital command goes down. Now there's vision inside of the main base, too, to pop down a Nidus Worm. Solar dashes away yet again. Up to 90 drones. What about this network, though? And this is problematic. Clem was not prepared for this. He had vision of it on the map. But this is an extremely hectic time for the Terran. And immediately, right? And this is what makes those Nidus plays so good. Immediately, the Zerg army moves back in. More Nidus right over here. It takes so much APM for Terran to clean out lurkers in the main base like this, whereas for Zerg to execute a Nidus push like that, it is only a couple of clicks. Another orbital command is going to bite the dust, it looks like. Lurkers in the meantime. Okay, they are getting destroyed by a handful of units, but he needs to refresh that scan yet again. 28 SCVs have gone down. Beautiful aggression right here by Solar. He did pop a few of those lurkers, it looks like, back into the network too, so saving at least some of it. For some reason, we're landing a mule right over here. He wants to go for both of those late-game upgrades. He probably wants to get the additional engineering bay upgrades too, but he can't afford it. What Clem needs right now is a moment of peace. He just needs a few minutes to breathe. But Solar knows it. That is exactly what he is trying to prevent. Taking the far bottom left base right now, too. Honestly, Solar has so many mineral lines right now that he can't even optimally mine like half of them. Ooh, Ghost, run away. Solar has his eyes set on new base. Ooh, careful. Those Hydras almost taking the wrong path out of this equation. A load of Overlords, by the way, did die. NG base also ended up going down, which is a little bit awkward. Okay, we're now up to like nearly, 12 Liberators. I think we can go Advanced Ballistics. Honestly, I think we need to go Advanced Ballistics. Nidus Worm gets, there it is. Nidus Worm gets put down right next to this set of upgrades now, so lucky here for Clem. He still had a couple of units roaming around, but Clem has been punched into this little starting quadrant of his, and while he's doing a good job keeping all of those bases alive for now, I am a little bit afraid that he is going to get swarmed to death. Because Solar's army is just looking so good. His army is good, his eco is good, his upgrades are great. The Liberators, though, are nice. Yeah. I think that's why we're going Corruptors. That was an excellent fight right there for Clem. We look at the army. The army value right here of Solar did just take a nosedive, primarily because of those libs. So this is effectively just additional range on that siege up circle that the Liberators have. Nidus Worm, yet again in the far bottom left. This is where Zerg is so dangerous, right? Because as a Terran, yeah, you can be prepared against Hydraling Bane. But then in a moment's notice, it can be Lurkerling Bane. And that requires a different composition altogether. New Engineering Bay is going to get sniped as well. Terran now pushed into their natural expansion, but the Liberators are nice. Nidus Worm as well in this location. Not just as a way to transport the Zerg's army around, but also to block a new base. Scan in the top right now reveals the expansion right over here. Okay, Liberator is still going to be out of range now because of the ranged research. A couple of Zerglings trying to be annoying. Okay. Now, do we have enough right now to break through all of this? That's the question, right, for Solar. There's a new base that is being acquired right here. Solar really needs to deny as much of that mining as possible. It's critical for Clem, though, that he gets this base going. Clem is starting to run out of cash. He did make quite a few orbitals. He's got 5 of them. Yeah, not amazing. Zergling run by on the right. Main Zerg army is moving on the left. And now we have a Corruptor Viper hit squad added into the mix, too. This game has not gone according to plan here for Clem whatsoever. But the fact that he secured a base here is really nice. Now he can start thinking about Caduceus Reactor. He can start thinking about the building armor inside of the engineering bay. It's those little things that would be really nice to add into the army here for Clem. But you can't get carried away upgrading while not having an army or an economy. Balancing eco, tech, and army is always very difficult. Whereas Solar has got everything. Solar has got so many bases. He's got so much mining. He's got so much money in the bank. So he is trying to rinse and repeat. He knows that these fights are not likely to be cost efficient, but he doesn't need them to be too terribly cost efficient. Do we have another fungal? We do not. Another good fight here for Clem, I think, in the end. The problem, though, is this. The income advantage is heavily in favor of Solar. And it has been for like the last 15 minutes. Now we have a bunch of lurkers again. We thought they died out, but they've shown up again on the right side of the map. Solar has covered practically the entire map in creep. The creep spread here is nuts. Insane. Non-stop Ling run bys. Ay, ay, ay. Now, how do you stop the swarm? You may take reasonable fights, but can you actually win the war? At this point, Clem is doing that campaign mission, you know, where he needs to survive for 30 minutes so Matt Horner can come and pop up with the Hyperion and save the day. But as far as I know, there is no Hyperion. And this Zerg player is not slowing down. If anything, he's speeding up. Another command center bites the dust. The orbital command is going to get shut down as well. Now, we do have a counterattack in the far bottom left. I'm sure Solar is going to be able to find another, well, base for those drones to continue mining. He's busy, though, being the aggressor. APM, by the way. Look at this stuff. Yeah. Let's do a little bit of first-person view. This is Clem's first-person view. Incredibly frantic. 538 average actions per minute. Let's switch here to Solar for a moment. Looks a little bit calmer, right? Even though the APM is equally high, it does seem slightly less frantic. But look at the minimap. The minimap is just red. All right, let me take control of the mouse again, because this is kind of confusing and maybe a little disorienting even, but When there's skirmishes happening everywhere, you know there might be Widow Mines, you know there could be Banelings. It is very easy for things to go horribly wrong in a heartbeat. Looks like another hatchery is going to bite the dust, though, slowly but surely. Zerg is finally breaking open the natural expansion. Terran backs up to the safety of the planetary. 76 confirmed kills on that planetary fortress alone. It's not bad. Give the man a medal. I would imagine at least there's somebody piloting this thing. I will say, though, that even though the eco here of Clem is a bit of a disaster, his army is still awfully competitive. Clem is now going for the ultimate Terran late-game approach, and that is to not replace lost SCVs, but make a non-stop army instead. Use the mules for mining, and then keep rolling forward with as much of an army as possible, knowing that Zerg probably has like 80 supply caught up in, well, mining, right? Like, it can't possibly be making as large of an army as the Terran. Backing up right now to the safety of another planetary fortress. Solar does have to run, but the supply count here is looking pretty atrocious for Clem. Liberator's now getting sniped by those corruptors. This is a base that was previously held by the Terran, and, well, you look away a moment, suddenly there's a Zerg base located in that same spot. Planetary fortress? No, it's even an orbital command. You know times are desperate when you start making an orbital command in the corner. Ghosts are still trying to micro against this, but I don't know if they have enough to go. Splash damage right now from the Widow Mines also connects after hitting the Overseer with the actual Terran ground army. A couple of snipes go down, but GG gets cold. And it is none other than Solar who takes down Clem in a macro game. So Solar doing here what Cero has really not been able to do very reliably as of late. I mean, the last few times that we've seen Clem going up against Cero, I feel like Cero has just been getting outpaced a little bit in the late game, but obviously it's just a single match. Obviously it's on a map that Clem will not be nearly as familiar with. There's a very real shot that this is the first time he's playing a long macro game on Winter's Madness, but that was a beauty right there by Solar.